What is going on, Commanders fans? How we feeling, y'all? How are we feeling, man? The Commanders beat the Falcons last night, 30-24, and I didn't post a video last night because I thought it was a little too late. Didn't know if a lot of people were gonna watch, but man, I was up until 2 a.m. last night. The game ended at like 11:40, 11:45. I was up until 2 a.m. taking in all the content, all of the Jayden Daniels praise, man. We beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-24 in overtime. That game came down to the absolute wire. And Jayden freaking Daniels, the savior of this franchise, he is the clutchest quarterback in the NFL right now. He's playing like the best quarterback in the NFL right now. You could say he's not, right? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they're all balling out, Joe Burrow. But Jayden Daniels is that dude. He's like that. You should have been realized that too, if you haven't already. But last night, he had to show people again that he's that dude. He literally was our offense last night. He is unbelievable, man. And he led us to victory in overtime. I knew once we got the ball in overtime, once we won the toss, oh yeah, we're going downfield, we're scoring. Jayden Daniels is going to score us this touchdown, and we're going to go and win this game. Go to 11 wins, 11-5 on the year, and we're going to go to the playoffs, man. How good does that feel, man? It feels so good to say that. 11 wins for the first time since 1991. Some fans were born then, or some fans were alive before that, or alive around that time, but I wasn't. It's just so amazing to see us win 11 games in a season, make the playoffs, man, for the first time since 2020. In the past years, or the past times we've made the playoffs, 2020, 2015, 2012, we got off to slow starts in that year. And we had to go on a hot streak at the end of the year in order to make it. This year, we were just good all season long. We had that 3-game losing streak where we cooled off, but we were still good all season long. And after the 3-game losing streak, we've now gone 4-0 in December for the first time in I don't know when. Like, we've sucked in December over the past couple of years. Well, this year, 4-0. But let's get into this game, man. Whoo, man, it was a roller coaster of a game. First half, we couldn't stop the Falcons' run game at all. Bijan Robinson was doing whatever he wanted to us on the ground. He was averaging 5.3 yards a carry last night, and he did most of his damage in the second half. Or not in the second half, sorry, the first half. In the second half, we held the Falcons' run game down, and part of that is due to our back-to-back 7-minute drives to open up the second half. That kind of made the Falcons go in the pass game more and more, right? Because if you go in the run game, you really, aren't going to do a whole lot. Although they were killing us in the run game in the first half, they needed to throw the ball more in order to ensure that they win the game. And we had 2 back-to-back 7-minute drives, so that kind of forced them to go into the pass game a little more heavier, right? But yeah, in the first half, we couldn't stop Bijan Robinson at all. He had 17 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. In Tyler Algier, he had 3 carries for 19 yards, right? Man, Drake London, he was cooking Michael Davis. Man, Michael Davis is awful. He is terrible, man. I said a couple days ago that I'd rather see him on the field than Benjamin St-Juste. Honestly, man, I need Marshawn Lattimore back. I need Lattimore back, man, because Michael Davis is horrendous. He was actually pretty good at tackling last night. Like, he did a good job of tackling, but, man, he was getting beat bad by Drake London. Because of the size matchup between those two, he was pretty much on London for the majority of the game. And, man, London was just cooking him, man. He was cooking him. Michael Davis is very slow. Like, he is a very slow cornerback. And Drake London, man, he was just taking his food, right? Like, he was just cooking him off the line, routing him up, doing whatever he wanted to him, man. Michael Davis, he's terrible, man. He is absolutely terrible. Michael Penix Jr., want to talk about him real quick. I thought he was really good in the fourth quarter, and I have to, applaud him for that, right? He was clutch for the Falcons. Man, our defense, never trust this defense. I already knew we needed a touchdown. When we went into the red zone, when we scored the field goal, we needed a touchdown there. And when Cosme got called for that hold, man, and it was a hold. Like, they called a hold on Cosme earlier in the game. It wasn't a hold at all. Like, at all. But the one in the red zone down there, it was a hold. He grabbed the defensive tackle by his collar and then pulled him down. It was a hold. It was definitely a hold. And would have been a touchdown there. JD threw it to Olamide Zaccheaus, who, by the way, Olamide Zaccheaus, he was awesome last night. He had the drop, which was bad, and obviously we went 3 and out on that drive before overtime, but he was awesome last night. He was clearly out for revenge, man. He was definitely mad the Falcons let him go because he had 8 catches, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. He was our best receiver last night. And Zach Ertz was our second best receiver. Those two guys, man, stepped up last night. Terry, stat line's pretty ugly. I mean, you already know, 1 catch for 5 yards. I will say that when Jayden was throwing to Terry, he was a little bit inaccurate. Like Jayden had or not Jayden, sorry, Terry had 2 balls off his fingertips, and I feel like one of those balls should have been caught by Terry, although it would have been made a difficult catch. It would have been a difficult catch. I still feel like Terry should have caught at least one of those balls, but the connection between Terry and Jayden last night just wasn't there, and AJ Terrell did a really good job of locking down, match it up against Terry. So you got to give props to the DB sometimes, but Terry just didn't do anything last night. So we needed other guys to step up, and OZ and Zach Ertz did just that, man. They did just that. Back to Michael Penix. He was good in the fourth quarter. He led the Falcons, down the field. Once again, never trust his defense to get you a stop. When it is late game situations, they let up a touchdown to Kyle Pitts on 4th and 11, or not even 4th and 11. It was 4th and goal, but it was really 4th and 11 or 4th and 12 because it was from the Falcons, or not the Falcons, sorry, our 12-yard line, right? They needed 12 yards to get into the end zone, and they did just that, right? But it was a really good throw by Michael Penix Jr. I'm not even going to lie, but yeah, never trust our defense to get stops in late game situations for sure, man. I mean, after the Bijan Robinson muffed snap or the bad snap by the center, I thought, oh yeah, we're getting a stop here. But I should have known, man. Should have known to never ever trust this defense. Finishing up with Penix real quick. Obviously, like I said, I thought he had a really good fourth quarter. He was clutch for the Falcons at the end, but he definitely didn't have his strongest start. Obviously, the interception he threw to Quan Martin. Shout out to Quan Martin, man. He had a terrific game last night. That pass breakup he had over the middle of the field on Drake London, man, was absolutely beautiful, man. He had a game last night. So shout out to Quan Martin. He was really, you could say, our only DB to step up, right? Because Michael Davis, he sucked. Noah Igbenogany, he dropped the interception. It was a beautiful tip pass by Bobby Wagner. Literally went right through Noah Igbenogany's hands, right? Mikey Sanders still didn't have the best game. He led up a 4th and 11 catch to Drake London. He got cooked by Drake London on that play. It was an easy catch by Drake London that gave him 15 to 20 yards on that play, right? And moved the chains for them. So Mikey didn't have his best game last night. Jeremy Chin, he wasn't too bad last night. He did miss a tackle earlier in the game, which I feel like he should have made. I think it was on either Drake London or Bijan Robinson. I'm not sure, but he wasn't too bad last night. But Quan Martin was definitely our best DB last night for sure. Penix, he was inaccurate in the first half, I feel like. He missed Drake London a couple of times. I think he missed Darnell Mooney once as well. So, it's his second start, right? So if Falcons fans want to cook him for that, they can. But at the same time, it's his second start. He probably got jitters. I mean, you're on Sunday Night Football, on the road. The Falcons have no fans, right? Their fans don't travel at all. Their fans don't even show up to their own games, right? So you already know our fans are going to pack the house, right? It was loudy in there. So, maybe that's the reason as to why he was inaccurate. But he just was a little inaccurate in the first half. He definitely missed some opportunities. Moving to our side, Jayden, man. Jayden is incredible. He led the team in rushing yards, which is not a good thing, by the way. But it's all right. He had 16 carries, 127 yards. He was amazing on the ground. Amazing on the ground last night, man. I mean, the amount of times he picked up the first down on third down or second down with his legs. On first downs, he would pick up 6 to 7 yards at times last night, man. It was awesome, man. Absolutely amazing. And obviously his accuracy showed off once again last night, throwing for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. The interception, I'm not going to lie, Caden Ellis had JD fooled on that play. The Falcons defense definitely had JD fooled on that play. JD did not see Caden Ellis dropping back in coverage at all, and they did have him fooled, right? So that was just a really good play design by the Falcons defense right there. But JD did all that. 24 for 36, so that's about 66% completion percentage, so really good. He got sacked 5 times, really 4 because he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage once, so that counts as a sack. But our O-line, I feel like it was better in the second half, but in the first half, they weren't getting much push in the run game, and I feel like they were getting a lot of pressure on Jayden Daniels, or allowing a lot of pressure on Jayden Daniels. Like Brandon Coleman, he was not good last night. I saw 2 times he got beat last night. Once, he kind of looked confused. He wanted to help, I want to say, Nick Allegretti kind of block one of their defensive tackles, or he wanted to take Matthew Judon, which he didn't, and he allowed Matthew Judon to get an easy sack on Jayden Daniels. That was one of the sacks he took, and then he got beat one more time, but I'm pretty sure Jayden escaped the pocket, used his legs, and picked up a nice gain or even a first down on that, right? So Brandon Coleman wasn't great last night, and honestly, I do want a replacement for him next year, if possible. Will it happen? I'm not 100% sure, but Brandon Coleman just isn't a great tackle in my opinion. I'm not sure if he's a tackle in this league. Maybe he can be a really good guard. Like, I feel like he can be a really good guard. Tackle, though, I'm not sure, right? But back to Jayden, man. His clutchness is unbelievable. Like, the 3 and out, after 3 and out, if the Falcons made the field goal, first of all, the field goal, right? I thought that went in, man. Riley Patterson, I was shocked. He, drive that down the middle, but he was literally just short, man. If he was with us, he would have shanked that thing right, man. All the way right or left, man. He would have shanked he would have shanked that ball so bad, man. He really would have. So I was surprised that it was line drive. However, he just didn't have enough strength in that kick, and it fell short, and we went to overtime. And then once we won the toss, I knew, oh yeah, Jayden going down there, he's going to score. Like last week versus the Eagles gave Jayden a second opportunity to go down and score, and he did just that. I'm like, hey, give Jayden another opportunity, he's going to go down and score. And they did just that. And what did he do? He scored, man. And shout out to Zach Ertz, man. He had a really good game last night. The catch and run, man. Zach looks so slow. Like, it's crazy, man. He looks so slow. But, hey, shout out to Zach, man. Shout out to Zach, man, because he definitely stepped up last night. But, once again, Jayden, incredible. The savior, man. I'm just taking in all this content over the last 12 hours, really. I've been taking all this content, man, that, media putting out there about Jayden, man. Like, it's just been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. To the defense, really want to talk about the defense real quick. Quan Martin, like I said, he had a good game. Michael Davis was terrible last night. Bobby Wagner, I thought he had a pretty good game, making some stops in the run game. Dorrance Armstrong, he had a sack. And shout out to Jonathan Allen with the pressure there. He forced Michael Penix to step up in the pocket, and Dorrance Armstrong cleaned it off, which was really good. Dante Fowler Jr., man, those roughing penalties are so just messed up on him, because, like, what is he supposed to do in that situation, right? He's not even, like, targeting, his head or neck area, right? Like, what is he supposed to do in that situation? But, it is what it is, right? But he got a sack last night, and it was a beautiful sack. The reverse spin move on one of their interior O-linemen got the sack on Penix. Dante Fowler Jr. is an absolute beast, and with the sack last night, he is now up to 10.5 sacks on the year. I don't remember the last guy to have double-digit sacks in a season. It wasn't Chase Young. It wasn't Sweat. I'm pretty sure it was Kerrigan back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, Dante Fowler Jr., he's incredible for us, man. I really wonder what his asking price this offseason is. I don't think it'll be too much. However, he's had a really good season, and I feel like he'll be asking for a decent amount. Jonathan Allen, first game back, I didn't think he was horrible. I would have liked to see him get more pressure. Our D-line in general just didn't get enough pressure on Penix last night, especially in the first half. In the second half, they did a better job of it, but for the majority of the game, Penix just had a lot of time to sit back there and throw. And, I got to give credit to the Falcons O-line, because they don't allow a lot of sacks. They don't allow a whole bunch of pressure on the quarterback. But still, man, it was just really disappointing that we were generating absolutely no pressure on Penix last night, right? So, you know, I don't know, man. Like, it was not great in terms of generating pressure. It definitely wasn't. Deron Payne, he didn't do much last night. Shout out to Jeremy Reeves. He proposed to his girlfriend, so shout out to him. That was a really cool moment. They showed it on TV, so that was really cool for him. And other than that, that's really it. Noah Igbenogany, obviously, he had the dropped interception. And other than that, I think that's really all I have to talk about for the defense. Shout out to Zane Gonzalez. He made all of his kicks. He made the field goal, so that's really good on his part. So that is really it for the recap of the game. I'm going to get to the playoff picture real quick, but it just feels so good to be 11-5, have the chance to go 12-5. I want that win versus Dallas, man. I don't want to get swept by Dallas, right? You know, if we decide to rest our starters, cool. I don't think we will rest all of our starters. Obviously, some are not going to play. Like Tyler Biadasz, she got injured last night. He's probably not going to play. Lattimore, he's more than likely not going to play. De'Ami Brown, he's probably not going to play. Andrew Wiley, Cole Luke, who got injured last night as well, he's probably not going to play, right? So, you know, I don't expect those guys to play, but I do expect some starters to play for sure. Oh, yeah. I want to talk about the Jayden Daniels injury scare, right? Like, when he got folded like that, man, I thought, oh, my gosh. I was having flashbacks. I'm not going to lie, y'all. I was definitely having flashbacks to RG3, obviously tearing his knee up, but Jayden was good, right? And it's good that he's flexible because flexible guys like that are able to avoid injuries like that. And then talking about the playoff picture real quick, you see the playoff picture right here. The Vikings, 1 seed. The Lions have yet to play tonight. They're probably going to beat the 49ers. The Lions and the Vikings will play next week, and that game will decide who wins their division and who gets the number 1 seed in the first round bye in the NFC. The Eagles locked up the 2nd seed with their win yesterday versus Dallas. They clinched the NFC East. The Rams, with our win versus the Falcons last night, they clinched their division, the NFC West, which means the Seahawks are eliminated now. With us beating the Falcons last night, the Buccaneers are back in control of the NFC South, and if they win versus the Saints next week, then they clinch that division. And then we obviously hold the 6th seed, and we have the tiebreaker over the Packers, who are the 7th seed right now, because we have a better conference record than them. So sitting at the 6th seed is really good. If the playoffs were to start today, we will play the Rams, and I like that matchup. I'm not going to lie. I do like that matchup. You know, JD going back to LA where he was born and raised. That would be a good matchup. I'm not going to lie. That would be a good matchup. I would fully expect our fans to take over their stadium. I actually didn't know how many fans we had on the West Coast until I saw the amount of fans present for the Cardinals game in week 4, man. Like, I was like, wow. We got a lot of fans out on the West Coast, so I wouldn't be surprised if we took over their stadium, if we did play them in the playoffs in the wild card round. So that's that. But we're sitting at the 6th seed right now. If we beat the Cowboys next week, then we lock up the 6th seed, and we would go ahead and play the Rams in round 1. There's a chance we could play the Bucks, because if the Rams lose to the Seahawks next week, and if the Bucks beat the Saints next week, well, when the Bucks beat the Saints next week, because they're going to beat the Saints, right? I doubt the Bucks lose to the Saints, right? But if the Rams lose to the Seahawks and if the Bucks beat the Saints, then the Bucks get the 3 seed. And obviously, if we beat Dallas, we get the 6 seed, and we would go to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers in Wild Card Weekend or on Wild Card Weekend. So that would be the scenario there. But I'm just so happy to be in the playoffs, man. I mean, 11-5, 11 wins since 1991. A playoff team. We got one of them ones at quarterback, man. Let's celebrate this, y'all. We got to celebrate this, man. So I'm going to just end the video off right here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment down below your thoughts from last night's overtime victory over the Atlanta Falcons. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.